Awesome. Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining. So, as we all know that CV reviews we have been doing in parallel, which we'll continue doing, and some of us have started sharing your second iteration or third iteration basis my feedback on the same mail thread. So we keep reverting to that ASAP, and we'll keep using that same mail thread with you so that the CV can be finalized. And my support is ongoing. There is no expiry date on that. Even if you send me your nth iteration of your CV, let's say in September 2026, that's totally fine. Has the CV feedback been helpful? Quick feedback, if you can put it in the chat. Awesome. Thank you so much for the kind feedback. We'll continue doing that. And in parallel, we'll start doing estimate practice. So that's a parallel activity. So coming to that, what we'll do is tomorrow we'll have the session with Sheetal. Sheetal is our mentor from McKinsey. She'll talk about what are guesstimates, do's and don'ts of guesstimates, what is the recruiter evaluating, and she'll solve three guesstimates in front of us with us. So she'll invite your thoughts on how you would solve that guesstimate if you were the interviewee, and then she'll give her solution to that and do the math. One request is to go through the guesstimates pre-read doc that we have shared with you during the week. That will help you just to get attuned to what the session will have tomorrow. And from Tuesday morning onwards, I'll start practicing guesstimates with us on the group. So I'll share a guesstimate question in the morning. I'll open the group so that you can ask any clarifying questions that you have on the guesstimate and you can solve it. Share a snapshot with me on the group. And you can do it whenever convenient. So let's say I share the guesstimate question at 12 p.m. IST. You have all the time in the world till the next day 9 a.m. IST to send the snapshot. Some people work late, so they can send it on the group late night. Some people can send it early morning on the next day till 9 a.m. IST, whatever works for you. One snapshot, and I know that you have sent it. What I'll do is after 9 a.m. IST, I'll firstly give you feedback by tagging you. Let's say I say, Apurv, this was faulty in your approach, or your assumptions were misplaced, or your math was incorrect. Then I tag Anuj, I give him feedback on his specific approach. After that, I'll share my approach with you on the group, through which I solve the guesstimate and my final answer. And that will become a daily activity. Tuesday, one guesstimate, Wednesday, a different guesstimate, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and so on and so forth. Does that sound good? So you solve it, I give feedback on that, and I will then share my approach because I think that's the best way to learn. I can't just tell you that ये लो केस बुक्स खुद से पढ़ लो, या फिर ये केस बुक है इसमें ये अप्रोच है अपना गेस्टिमेट सॉल्व करो मैच कर लो. That's not good enough unless somebody gives you feedback on where exactly are you going wrong, because some of us will go wrong specifically in math. Some of us will go wrong specifically in utilizing our time. Our guesstimate will be correct, but we'll be taking a lot of time to solve it. That's also another problem, right? And some people will, let's say, end up missing crucial buckets or assumptions in their guesstimate. So that's why individual feedback is important. So we'll do that as an ongoing activity for the next couple of weeks. In parallel, we are anyway doing CV reviews, so it will become a parallel ongoing activity. Cool. So, but before we jump to the session tomorrow and to the practice from Tuesday onwards, would you want to solve a couple of guesstimates with me today just to get some understanding of what guesstimates are, what is expected? ठीक. So we'll do the easy ones today. Mushkil wale I'm preserving for the next week and next to next week. Okay. So I'll solve a couple of guesstimates with us today. I would want a volunteer for each. So anybody who wants to volunteer for the first question, you can. So don't rely on any framework, any best practices for now. Your approach can be as crude as possible. Solve it from common sense, solve it from first principles thinking. Let me know whatever approach is coming to your mind and we can go ahead with that. Okay. So let's do it with Manav and Shivam. Okay. Manav, you can go first. I'll unmute you. And others can put their assumptions and their approach in the chat. I'll keep checking that.
Hey, hi, Sarthak. Am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes, sure.
awesome. So your question is that you have to estimate the number of dogs in Delhi NCR.
Okay. Dogs and aliens.
Number of dogs in Delhi NCR. What is the first question that is coming to our mind right now? And you can put it in the chat.
Can I speak or directly put it in the chat?
You can speak, others can put it in the chat, no worries.
So, are we talking about the stray dogs or the dogs which are owned by some residents or another?
Both.
Both.
Yeah. I'll keep giving feedback to you. The problem with total area of Delhi is total area of Delhi will not help me with anything. If I tell you the total area of Delhi is 200 square kilometer, how does it help me to find the number of dogs? I have no idea on what area is occupied by a dog and what area is occupied by a human. So that's very difficult to visualize. Uh, and we are including both domesticated and stray. Yeah, all kinds of dogs, domesticated and stray dogs. What would you do next, Manav?
So first of
Census.
all,
We can't do census of people having dogs. The problem is you can do a census, but you can't give an approach to the interviewer for which they'll have to Google up the answer. You have to estimate it through a metric or an approach which is easily visualizable, for which you don't have to Google it up. Yeah, Manav.
so there may be two approaches. First approach is for the domesticated dogs, we will go via total count of population of Delhi around 1.5 CR
Okay.
whole of. And second scenario would be for the area that is for the stray dogs. For an example, per 100 meter, if we are assuming there are 2 to 3 dogs, so based upon that, if we divide whole Delhi based upon total area of around 50 kilometers or 60 kilometers, we can get a total count of number of stray dogs based upon this scenario.
Okay, but let's focus on domesticated first. You said that you will focus on the population of Delhi. What will you do after that?
So, for an example, if I'm taking 1.5 CR as the total population of the league currently, so my next approach would be again we would be taking assumption that out of this 1.5 CR, there are 20% would be having dogs at their home.
We can't justify 20%. How did we arrive at 20%? So,
Okay,
and this is feedback for Shivam also. Don't just directly jump to the answer
okay.
because the interviewer will push back. "Ki, why is it 20% families? Why is it not 30% families? What determines if I can own a dog?" So, try to solve for that.
So
So,
what?
what
The
Yeah. What?
second approach can be we can again do the same scenario that if for specific, no, not for buildings as well, we can't go ahead
Hmm.
segregate based upon the building that on an average there are 5 dogs per buildings, and based upon that if we move it, then is it a good point to go with, or should I have some different approach as well?
So think about it that, okay, Delhi's population is 3 crores.
Yeah.
What determines or what variables or dimensions will or factors will determine if Sarthak or Sarthak's family
Hmm.
can own a dog? What is that a function of?
Okay. Mhm.
Yeah, Shivam, sorry, Prerna and Raghavendra, you're on the right track. So if you think about it, um, 3 crores is the Delhi population.
Okay.
You try to divide it into the number of households because here households make sense because a dog is owned by a family,
Hmm.
right? So it's not an individualistic purchase. So let's say the household size in Delhi is 4 per family. So we divide 3 crores by 4, we get the number of households, which is let's say 75 lakhs. Uh, that is the number of families. Now, what will you do next?
So based upon that, we can segregate them into income bracket. That's out of 75 lakh. Suppose we are aiming that middle class and upper middle class can have domesticated dogs at their home. So based upon 75 lakh, if we assume that mm, 30% is lower middle class, and again 30% out of which is upper middle class, and remaining can be luxurious, that is rich and ultra rich. Based upon that, we can segregate and bifurcate them.
Hmm. Income is one very important bucket, like you said. So 75 lakhs ko we can. But even before income, do you think we are missing some other bucket or some other variable? Do do families in rural areas typically own dogs?
No, they won't. Yes.
No, right? So 75 lakhs ko firstly we can divide into urban rural. So
Okay.
Delhi is a metropolitan city, so let's say we can do 80% of these households are in urban areas. So 75 lakhs का आपने 80% कर लिया, which is 60 lakhs.
Hmm.
Then you can say these 60 lakh urban families में से affordability is a very big constraint because it takes a lot of resources
Yes.
to pet a dog or pet any animal. So we can then, like you said, income वाला कर सकते हैं, which is high, medium, low.
Hmm.
तो हाई में वी कैन से 30% हाउसहोल्ड्स आ गए, मिडिल में 30% आ गए, तो वी कैन डिवाइड द 60 lakhs into, let's say, 18 lakhs high income, 18 lakhs medium income.
Yeah, 24
What will
low.
you do? What will you do after that?
So we can assume that again it would be the same, that for an example out of 18 there can be mm, we cannot directly jump into again number of that this much a percentage amount of people would be having dogs and everything.
When you say number, this percentage of people would be having dogs, what does that mean? What is that called?
Again, assumptions only.
I mean, it can be called, let's say, like Apoorv was saying, eagerness or propensity to own a pet
Okay.
is what we can say. So, and pet can be anybody, including cats, dogs, crocodiles. Why am I saying crocodile? Okay, but this is not China. Cats, dogs, fish. Uh, so for that, we can have a propensity, which would be, let's say, maybe if you think about it, 1 in 10 families will want to pet a dog or pet a pet. So we can do 10% of high income families, which is 1.8 lakhs, and 10% of medium income families, which is 1.8 lakhs.
Hmm.
अब
Uh,
इसमें से what will you do next?
Again, we can bifurcate, as you told, that depending upon the pets, would again bifurcate depending upon
Mhm.
the dogs or cats or anything.
Exactly. So how many of these families would actually be, how many of these families which have the affordability to pet a pet, which have been living in urban areas and which will actually be petting or owning a dog? So let's say we can
32.
say, so since dogs are the most prominent, most popular kinds of pets, so we can say 50% for 1.8 lakhs and 50% for 1.8 lakhs. So we can say,
In 1.8.
uh, yeah, so 90,000 families high income वाली होगी and 90,000 families आपकी मीडियम इनकम वाली होगी. बट इसमें एक चीज हम मिस कर रहे हैं अभी भी, विच इज हाई इनकम
Number
फैमिलीज में कुछ कुछ जगह नंबर ऑफ डॉग्स पर हाउस होल्ड विल बी
of
मोर देन वन. राइट. सो वी कैन लेट्स से अज्यूम कि मान लो कुछ फैमिलीज में टू डॉग्स होंगे, कुछ में सिर्फ वन होगा. तो मोटा मोटी मल्टीपल वी कैन अज्यूम टू बी 1.2. तो
okay.
90,000 इंटू 1.2 से हमारे पास डॉग्स इन हाई इनकम फैमिलीज आ गए. 90,000 इंटू वन करने से हमारे पास डॉग्स इन मीडियम इनकम फैमिलीज आ गए. We sum both the numbers we get are, is this our final answer?
Number of dogs. Okay. Can you please again repeat the question? You have
So,
told number of dogs only, no? So this
but
were only for domesticated. We have not yet gone for stray dogs yet.
exactly. So stray dogs, अब मान लो, and this is a question for everybody. अभी तो मैंने बहुत जल्दी जल्दी सॉल्व किया है मानव के साथ. आपको वहां पे सॉल्व भी करना है. यू हैव टू एक्सप्लेन द रैशनल बिहाइंड टेकिंग एवरी बकेट विद द इंटरव्यूअर. एंड तो मान लो 25 minutes हैव लैप्स्ड
Okay.
and you have 30 minutes to close any guesstimate conversation. 30 minutes बाद the interviewer will anyway stop you. That okay? Thank you so much. You have 5 minutes remaining. ठीक है? And you have to calculate stray dogs का population. Now, how will you do it in 5 minutes or 4 minutes, because you have to sum up the final answer also? I want a
We
smart,
can
yeah.
so as time is very less, we can directly take some percentage of the last two buckets that were uh, total number of pets that are there in the area. Based upon that, if we can directly take a share that out of this pets, total number of dogs are there. Based upon that, if you multiply it by two or three, because stray dogs are more as comparison to the domesticated dogs. So based upon that, we can come to a conclusion here that for every uh, one dog, there can be 1.2 stray dogs or 1.3 stray dogs. Based upon that, we can directly calculate and
Perfect.
move.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Manav and Pavan. You are on the right track. What we can simply say is, anecdotally speaking, I believe in my locality, let's say for one domesticated dog, I can see five stray dogs in terms of ratio. And if the final answer for domesticated dogs came at 2 lakhs, then I can multiply 2 lakhs by 5. This will give me 10 lakhs for stray dogs and 2 lakhs for domesticated dogs. 12 lakhs is the final answer. Everyone clear?
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. So we used some buckets in this guesstimate, which was we started with the population, then we focused on number of families because it's dogs and they're typically one dog is let's say domesticated by one family. Similar to if I had asked you, let's say, estimate the number of refrigerators which are bought in Mumbai on let's say in every month. So आप उसमें families को include करते हो because typically one refrigerator per family, right? But mobiles के अंदर you have to include everybody. There is no need for a family filter there because in a family every member has a mobile. It's an individualistic purchase. So population household कितने हैं, then urban split, then income split, then propensity to own a pet. How many of them will be dogs? Number of dogs per household basis income type, and then multiply the multiple for stray dogs, and final answer. We'll get to know if the question is about domesticated dogs or stray dogs by asking the interviewer. So as soon as you get a question, you can ask me two, three questions. Ask two, three questions to the interviewer before starting with your calculation, which is it domesticated dogs or stray dogs? Is it Delhi or Delhi NCR? Right? And then you can start with your answer. All clear? सारा ग्रुप सारा चीजें मेरे से अभी शेयर करवा लो ग्रुप पे, है ना? डोंट वरी, बट I'll share all the solutions etc which we'll do starting Tuesday on the group so that we have it for future reference. Cool. Let's take a 2 minute break and then we can come back and do the second guesstimate. Is that okay? Cool. How to calculate stray dogs even if we are given more time? Yeah, there the problem with stray dogs is that I can't really apply a filter to them. I can't apply an income filter or a gender filter or an urban rural filter to them because stray dogs to rural areas में भी हैं. So you can't do an urban rural. Stray dogs are outside a good house and okayish house also. You can't do anything about them. If you try to bifurcate the area of Delhi into 200 square kilometer, this much is owned by, or this much is the area of roads, एक road पे इतने dogs होंगे. While that is logical, it's very difficult for the interviewer to visualize. तो जो भी चीज इंटरव्यूअर को मुश्किल हो रही है विजुअलाइज करने में, वो अप्रोच अच्छी नहीं है, चाहे वो जितनी भी लॉजिकल हो. Right? Because think about it, the interviewer is evaluating you not only in terms of your logic, but also if a client in a given situation will be able to understand what you're trying to tell them. So, and clients जो होते हैं उनको easy answers पसंद आते हैं which can be easily worked up and easily communicated. So never ever use complex approaches or try to use an approach which relies on a lot of wild assumptions. And the next guesstimate which I'll do with you is a little more difficult one, but we'll do it together. Let's take a break for 2 minutes and then we can come back. We can't say कि दिल्ली में 100 लोगों के basis or there are 10 dogs in Delhi per 100 people. This is a metric which is firstly not there out there. Even if it's there out there, I'll have to Google it up. The only thing which is available publicly and is known is कि इंडिया में या दिल्ली में पर 1,000 people इतने हॉस्पिटल बेड्स होते हैं, राइट? पर 1,000 people इतने डॉग्स होते हैं इज अ वेरी स्पेसिफिक मेट्रिक. When something is so specific that you have to Google it up, don't approach or don't start your approach with that metric. Not good enough, right? Cool. Let's come back by 6:30 and then we can start. Can we get started? Awesome. Thank you so much. The second volunteer was, I think, Shivam. Shivam, go ahead. I'll just unmute you.
Yeah, hello.
Hanji. So, your question is that estimate the number of petrol pumps in Delhi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Uh, can we take an approach for uh, households rather than because I don't know exactly the area uh, approach. I don't know the exact area to break down into the probable numbers. Can I go from like number of households who own a car and probably go from there?
Okay. Start with that. Sounds good.
Suppose that the average population in Delhi is 3 crore. Uh,
Mhm.
and we have both nuclear families in Delhi as it is a metropolitan and as well as joint families. So, taking an average of four people per household,
Mhm.
we can break down total number of houses. So, 3 crore divided by 4,
Mhm.
that would be around uh,
75 lakhs. That's okay.
okay, 75 lakhs. Now, out of these 75 lakhs household, we can further bucket them into four buckets. That is lower class household families with lower income bracket, middle, then I would go upper middle, and then the elite or the upper class.
Okay. Let's do three buckets: lower, middle, high income.
Okay,
What will you
lower
do after
middle
that?
and so given that Delhi, we know that 800 million people, 800 million people out of 1.4 billion people in India as a whole are near to the poverty line. So
Hmm.
that is for the India as a whole. Given that Delhi is a metropolitan city, we can reduce that number to around 50% under the lower and middle class and above on the higher on the higher side.
Hmm.
So assuming that, I think the lower and lower class divide would be 20% of that 75 million household.
Hmm.
Uh, then I would go 50% to the middle and the 30% to the higher side.
Okay, that's reasonable. What will you do after that? Let's say your 30% is broadly 25 lakhs, or let's do
Hmm.
20 lakhs for high income, and let's do 35 lakhs for middle income. What will you do after that?
Sorry, I didn't get the numbers. You
So
said 25
let's say 20 lakhs
lakhs for the
hi-
30%.
high income, and middle income families you're saying is 35 lakhs. What will you do after that?
So now that we have 35 and 25 lakhs, we can further break down into that. On an average, higher income uh, household has more than one car,
True.
and the middle class also have 1 to 2 cars. And I'm ignoring the lower class because
Hmm.
they travel differently.
True. So
So we
let's
can take,
assume high income families have two cars per household, and we
yeah.
can say middle income on an average have one car per household.
So then we multiply to uh, then with the number we can get the total vehicles by multiplying them. So 25 into 2, we can get 50, then 35. So
75 lakhs.
around
Uh,
75 lakhs vehicles.
What will you
So
do after that?
if we get 75 lakhs vehicles that travel, we can assume that these vehicles might per vehicle.
Hmm.
we can come to the number by dividing that a petrol pump can serve X number of cars. People
Hmm.
usually go to a particular petrol pump.
But when you say petrol pump, no, we can't assume a petrol pump can serve X number of cars. What can we assume? And this is a question for everybody. By looking at a petrol pump and estimating the capacity of that petrol pump, can I say this petrol pump can serve X number of cars, or is it better to say this petrol pump can hold these many liters of petrol in a day?
Okay.
Right? So we can say the petrol pump can hold X number of liters of petrol in a day. But before that, you estimated 75 lakh vehicles. There is something missing to come from 75 lakh vehicles to the petrol consumption per day.
Oh yeah, we can.
Can I divide the
Then
vehicles into, let's say, three types?
yeah.
Uh, Rapid usage,
Hmm.
occasional usage of the car, and sporadic usage. So when I say the vehicle is very rapidly used, yeah, we can assume that the petrol pump will have diesel as well. So that includes diesel vehicles also. Uh, when we say rapid usage, we can assume that this vehicle, let's say 30% of the 75 lakh vehicles are uh, very actively driven by the family. So let's say we can assume that they'll be traveling X kilometers per day. ठीक है, मान लो 100 kilometers per day. एंड देन हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा? एग्जैक्टली, माइलेज वी कैन से कि 100 kilometers पर डे चलती है कार, एंड 1 किलोमीटर या फिर 1 लीटर इतने किलोमीटर सर्व कर देता है, तो 100 kilometers में इतने लीटर्स चाहिए होंगे। ठीक है, तो वी कैन
Okay.
डू 75 lakhs का 30% वेटेज विच इज लेट्स से 25 lakhs,
That is right.
मल्टीप्लाई, हाँ, मल्टीप्लाई दैट बाय पेट्रोल कंजम्पशन ऑफ वन व्हीकल, and you will have to essentially take a buy-in of all the numbers from the interviewer, right? When we are saying 100 kilometers per day, आपको interviewer से ये buy-in लेना पड़ेगा. Is 100 kilometers correct? Do you want me to be a little more aggressive and say 150 kilometers? And then they'll say 100 ले लो, कोई problem नहीं है. Then you move ahead. And then you can say 50% vehicles होते हैं वो middle usage वाले होते हैं, medium usage वाले. उसमें वी कैन से 60 kilometers पर डे चलते हैं वो, एंड 1 लीटर से इतने किलोमीटर सर्व होते हैं, 60 kilometers सर्व करने के लिए इतने लीटर्स चाहिए होंगे. यू मल्टीप्लाई दीज थ्री बकेट्स with the liter consumption per day and you get the number of liters of petrol demanded by Delhi vehicles. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Now, and this is for everybody, if I divide the number of liters of petrol demanded by Delhi vehicles, let's say it's 10 lakh liters of petrol, for every Delhi vehicle to function, they'll need 10 lakh liters of petrol. Okay. And if I can tell you that one petrol pump can have the capacity of 1000 liters per day, if I divide these two numbers, will I get the number of petrol pumps?
Yeah.
Everybody is aligned, right? आप मेरे को बोल रहे हो कि दिल्ली में हर व्हीकल को चलाने के लिए 10 लाख लीटर्स पेट्रोल चाहिए होता है, एंड एक पेट्रोल पंप के पास डेली पेट्रोल कैपेसिटी 1000 लीटर्स की होती है. देन आई से ठीक है, ऐसा तो कभी हुआ नहीं कि और डेली व्हीकल नीड्स पेट्रोल एंड पेट्रोल पंप पे पेट्रोल खत्म हो गया हो, विच मीन्स मेरे को 10 लाख लीटर्स पेट्रोल चाहिए एंड 1000 लीटर्स हर पेट्रोल पंप के पास होता है, तो 10 लाख बाय 1000 इज 10, और दिस इज 1000. तो दिल्ली के पास 1000 पेट्रोल पंप्स तो होंगे ही होंगे, दिल्ली और दिल्ली एनसीआर के पास. नंबर थोड़ा ज़्यादा है, हमने मैथ ऊपर ऊपर से करी है, बट इज दैट अप्रोच करेक्ट? Everybody aligned? right? So, but we can't divide vehicles basis area. That will be a very difficult segmentation to do. If you think about it, we have to deploy an approach which will take 30 minutes, which convinces the interviewer, which ensures that I don't up committing any errors or mathematical problems. Uh, hmm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, one thing with which we can top up the answer, which Lakshay pointed out, which Raghvendra also pointed out, which is very important, is this approach that we deployed is for residential vehicles. There are a lot of people which drive, let's say, cabs. So we have to top up our final answer. Let's say our final answer is 200 petrol pumps. We have to top it up by, let's say, 20% or 30% to cater to the demand of drivers, right? The problem with a square meter approach or an area approaches is that it's not visualizable. आप सोच के देखो, if I tell you Delhi has 200 square kilometer area, ठीक है, अब how will I divide it into residential area, commercial area? उसके बाद how will I divide the commercial area into colleges, offices, and petrol pumps? एंड उसके बाद हाउ विल आई विजुअलाइज कि एक पेट्रोल पंप का एरिया ऑक्यूपाइड इतना होता होगा. So these three buckets which we are using are logical but very difficult to visualize. They are not intuitive, right? I have no idea कि दिल्ली में रेसिडेंशियल एरिया 50% है, कमर्शियल 50% है. उस कमर्शियल में कितना परसेंटेज एरिया पेट्रोल पंप्स ऑक्यूपाई करते होंगे, कितना परसेंटेज एरिया कॉलेजेस करते होंगे, कितना परसेंटेज एरिया स्कूल्स करते होंगे, कितना परसेंटेज एरिया कंपनीज ऑफिसेस करते होंगे. आई हैव नो आइडिया अबाउट दैट. That's why this approach is better here, because it starts with the demand for petrol by all Delhi vehicles in a day divided by the capacity of one petrol pump, which gives me the number of petrol pumps, right? Yeah, so I hope this was helpful for us to get a teaser of guesstimates, and we'll start solving these guesstimates tomorrow with Sheetal and from Tuesday onwards, like I pointed out. We'll start with a little easy set of guesstimates from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then we'll get to difficult ones with time. So from Tuesday to next Sunday, I'll not ask you to time yourselves. You can take as much time as possible and then send me the snapshot. On next to next Monday, I'll ask you to start timing yourself, because when you're doing it with the interviewer, when you're doing all the math and you're conversing with me on, okay, this is my approach, this is what I'm taking, it has to take 30 minutes. But if you're doing it just on a piece of paper and sending it to me, it should take half the time, which is 15 minutes. So we'll time ourselves 15 minutes from next to next Monday and solve the guesstimate. So we have to be accurate in terms of math, approach, and also economical on time, right? Which is something which is like a muscle, it takes time to build. So don't worry. But do solve guesstimates with me every single day. We'll not be perfect on day one, but by day 15, after we are done with 14 guesstimates, I promise you will yourself see a tremendous improvement, right? And one more thing before you drop off, tomorrow also we have an Ask Me Anything session with Mr. Jasmeet Chawla. Jasmeet is a friend, he's a mentor with us. He has worked with BCG. He'll join at 5 p.m. I'll share the link separately. You can join, ask him any questions on BCG life, interviews, work life, and he'll be giving you as honest an answer as possible. That's for sure. And from 6 p.m. onwards, like always, you can join the session with Sheetal on guesstimates. Okay. And thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Their average distance between two petrol pumps, I have no idea. That's the only problem. What you're saying is totally mathematically logical. But an interviewer slash a client will not be able to tell you कि यार दो पेट्रोल पंप्स के बीच में 500 meters की दूरी है. I have no idea. So you have to, in a guesstimate, you have to explain each and every line and solve it with the interviewer. It's not an assessment, which Sheetal will talk about tomorrow. It's a conversation. Right? Awesome. And thank you so much. No, you don't always have to start with population. There are some guesstimates where the population approach will not help, but सारा कुछ मैं भी बता दूंगा फिर कल और आगे मज़ा नहीं आएगा. So that is there. ठीक है. And cool. Thank you so much. I'll stop the recording.